So pretty much, I figured I do how to lose your investor in 10 slides, or why Shark Tank is not an adequate preparation for angels pitching. Shark Tank is, well, it is a little bit like screening panel, but it is also made for entertainment. So the first big mistake is that investors come in and pretty much come in with the attitude, this is my deal, and I tell you what to do. And come in with a very strong attitude that pretty much it is an honor for the angels or the investors to listen to them. Pretty much are not very transparent what will happen with their money, and pretty much also say they have everything under control. So we had a couple of months back, we had one presentation where the investor came, the company came in that way, and also during the Q&A, which is traditionally run by the chairman of the Desert Angels, he took the lead of the discussion, did decide which questions he was going to take and which ones he didn't answer. And that really did not come across well. So really the summary is the angels are not gamblers, so they really are careful where they put their money. It's their own money, and they are completely aware that they might lose it, but they don't want to lose it for stupid reasons. And the other thing that you always should keep in mind, if you go to angel organizations, they provide much more than the money. If you talk to a good angel organization and get them as a lead investor, they probably also will function as a mentor and advisor pretty much for free. So if you get them on the board, you automatically have a mentor and advisor, and there is a lot of experience, and they definitely can profit from it. The next one goes a little bit along the same line. I'm a genius. I'm doing it by myself, and that goes a little bit into team formation. What we don't like is presenters that pretty much step out there and say they run the company themselves. Nobody runs a company by themselves. It raises a red flag because nobody really knows technology, laws, finance, and people management altogether. I mean, if you take a look at yourself, you know where your strengths are, know where the weaknesses are, and you really should come in also to the pitches with your team. Have, if possible, at least one or two other of your team members present, even at the screening panel presentations, and today, as most of them are virtual and person meetings, that definitely can help, and also helps if there's specific questions to the finance or the technology that we really get the support and can answer the questions adequately. The other pattern that we see is nobody else can do what I can. This is why I don't patterns. In all likelihood, there will be situations where somebody breaks into the patterns. And just this morning, we had somebody who said, yeah, we filed a patent. I was like, so what do you claim in the patent? And pretty much what he claimed was pretty much like trivial. And I was just thinking to myself, this patent application is never going to fly. So really make sure that you bring a team in, that you have the good team, that you are willing to listen to the investors. And even if you have a small team, make sure that there's redundancy in the team. So that the finance person may cover a little bit of the law aspects, that the operations person also can cover a little bit of the technology, just in case one of the team members drops out, even just temporarily for a reason that doesn't jeopardize the company.
Hey, Peter, while you're switching over, I think you're cutting out just a little bit. Do you mind maybe turning your camera off just to save some of that bandwidth?
Yep, I can do that.
Okay, let's try that.
Hi, Peter, it's Scott Zentak. Your audio was choppy. Did you say it's during a pitch, it's better to have multiple team members present?
Present, but not necessarily presenting.
Okay,
So
thank you.
pretty much have some available for the Q&A. We had also presentations where they try to spread it out between team members. That usually is too disruptive, but it's very helpful if you have the team members there for the Q&A and pretty much have the specialists answer the questions. And as a general rule, try to be concise, especially in the pitches. If there is interest by the investors and you go to due diligence, and you definitely have more time to answer the questions. The next question, and I think it was Jeff Koenig who went through the cap tables, and we had discussions around the valuations. You have to be reasonable and realistic with these things. So you can give me 10 million for a $10 million pre-money valuation. Well, if you're already worth 100 million, why do you still have to raise funds? Unless you're a very deep technology company, it has to expand, and 10 million is probably also not what you want to bring to the angels. And angel groups will not go for like it, usually not go for a 10% share of the company. I would say the sweet spot, what angels are looking for, is probably between 25 and 40% of a company share once they invest. I don't want to give up control just yet. I keep the team small. Again, be prepared. You have to give up part of the company. It doesn't mean you have to give up control. Most of the time, the angel investors, especially in the early rounds, want you to be the majority holder and majority control of the company, because they want your stake and your buy-in into the company. The company is owned by my dad, my husband, my baby daughter, and me. Family-only teams usually raise concerns with investors. There are other reasons why families get into fights, and that is usually not good for the business. And we have had a number of examples where family disputes ended up wrecking a company. So if you only come in with family only, that is a concern. I have about 90% of the shares, but it's a little complicated. Know who owns the company at the time where you are presenting. Be very clear about it and be very aware about it. And we have not thought about board members. Well, if you want angel investor money, you will get an outside board member. And again, it is not a bad thing. You get a lot of experience. You get networking, you get contacts, and you get mentorship. So the two dimensions, if you go for pitching, the two crucial dimensions are the financials and the control. This is what angels will negotiate if they are interested in your company. But angels don't want to run your company, but supports the way to success and keep you out of trouble. So if you get some veto rights out of angel investors, and especially later on out of VC companies, that is more like to protect you from doing something absolutely stupid. Does it move? Oh, I'm stuck here. I only need, yeah. The next thing is the size of the raise. If you come and say, I only need 50,000, then the question is, why do you even go through the trouble of coming to an angel group, spend like 4 to 6 months raising the money? I think 50,000 is usually too little, and probably the cost of getting everything set up and the time it takes is not worth it. The other question that will come immediately is, how long is this going to last? Are you going to show up in 2 months again and ask for more money? Vice versa, if you come and say we want 10 million, you really have to have a good justification why you need the 10 million, what you want to do with it. Usually angel rounds are between 250,000 and 3 million. There is some tailing at the end, but that is pretty much the sweet spot for an angel round. Keep in mind, those are private people putting their own money in, so the chances to find somebody who can put up like 3, 4, or 5 million out of their own pocket are very slim. Also, if you go into your financing, try to shoot for about 18 months of runway. Know your expense projection, how much money you will need. So you pretty much, with the investment, with that round, get about 6 to 12 months to really do some work where you don't really have to worry about money, but really focus on developing your product or your sales channels, get it to the customer, and maybe even get initial revenues. With life science companies, that obviously will not work that way, but especially with computer application companies, software companies, that will be the expectations at the end. I tell the customers what they need. And this is really also where I think I-Core, going through I-Core is really a benefit for all the companies. But what we hear very often, the product is too complicated for the customer to understand what they don't need to know. Just this morning, we had another example where they were not really clear what they were actually doing. The customers should not have any concern about the product. Well, the user or the customer sure will have concern about using the product. It's in the software space, it's privacy, the risk of using, if you have something hardware, is there injury? If you go into the life science fields, regulatory aspects, or if you have hazardous materials. There's also IP liability, not only for you, but potentially also for the customer, for the user. If they use something that infringes on a patent, they might be taken to court. And this is something that customers are concerned about. We also hear very often they will buy it without defining who's they. So this morning we had a presentation where they were marketing software business to business, but the biggest revenue stream was coming from individual users. I was like, there was a disconnect there. Oh yeah, you don't have to understand. We have like a different business models. So users, payers, and customers are not necessarily the same. And I mentioned I-Core, and I think I-Core, even the local one, will really help you to shape your vision, what the customers are. And be aware that customers will change with the stage of the company, so you have different customer groups. I mean, if you have something in the life science field, one of the customer groups, even though they will not be paying, is the FDA and the regulatory agency. So you really have to understand and know what the customers want. And if you give the impression that you have no clue about them, then probably the next conclusion by the angels will be there is no market. And this is one of our favorite ones. I'm the only one in $1 trillion market. So if it's really $1 trillion market, then you have competition. You just haven't done the research. Really try to understand what is out there. Is there something else out there? If there's nothing out there, is this even a problem that customers will pay for? And then it really comes down, and we see it on pretty much every presentation. There's a slide with a TAM, SAM, SOM, and we will own 95% of the SOM without any plan how to do it. So these market and income projections are inherently wrong, and I would say they are always off. But what you can do, and which will gain the respect and interest of the investors, if you really have a clear rationale how you derive the numbers. The investors might argue your rationale, but if you have the reasoning, they don't assume you're stupid. They might just come from a different angle, and they will still want to talk to you. It might affect your valuation, but it definitely will not kill the deal. I don't know my way out. We have a number of companies that want to have a lot of money, and angels at some point want to have some money back with some return on investment. Often the companies come in and have no exit strategy. Then in the Q&A, it's like, oh, we just do an IPO if we feel like it. Or in the software field, in 2 years, we plan to exit to Amazon or Google at $500 million valuation. Well, those are nice dreams, unless you really can support it with some research or some comparables. That's a very dangerous proposition, and pretty much like immediately raises the worry that angels will never get their money out, that you pretty much have something that is called a lifestyle company, which is nothing bad, but it's not what angels are looking for as an investment. VCs are also not looking for. Angels pretty much look for investments where the company sales either through an IPO or through a merger, and that at that point brings the money back. I have 10 other angel groups interested. Cool. We really like that. The question is, who is the lead investor? Is there any angel groups that is really interested? This morning we had somebody presenting, oh yeah, and I was talking to the Tech Host Angels. Well, we did a little bit of digging and very quickly found out that the Tech Host Angels turned them down. But together with these 10 other angel groups, often when it comes to term sheet is ready, we have 50K of a $5 million round left. Well, if you already have 4.95 million, why don't you go to one of the other investors or have them ask whether they have some friends that puts a missing 50K in, or try to run with a 495 and don't spend and waste your time looking for a 50K. We will be closing this round in 2 weeks. This pretty much comes like down to a car salesman's pitch, and I don't mean any disrespect to car salesmen, but time pressure is not the right way to do it. If there's really like a solid term sheet, if there's really a round closing very quickly, and it has been approved by another angel group and worked through with another angel group, yes, we will hear about it, but pretty much like will be a phone call. Hey guys, we have a company, we have 50, 100,000 left in the round. Is any of you interested? So that also pretty much you have gone through all the due diligence, everything with that angel groups. We talked about a 25 million valuation with the 3 angels. Well, that's nice, but what did they say about the 25 million valuation? And show us the term sheet. In the Bay Area, we got a lot of pitch invitations. So pitch invitation is good. It shows some interest, but if nothing materializes, it is not a good thing. And you really should be very careful using it as a pressure or negotiation point. If you have a real valid deal and support it, we likely have heard about it from another angel group who's leading the investment or is in due diligence, and we will definitely contact them and then really work the deal together or jump on their term sheet. But using these things to really try to push the valuation or your market value is not a good thing, and immediately turns investors off because it raises suspicions that maybe something else is wrong. And that is all I have.